so objective number 1, they need to create a hero with a picture of the school with incoming and outgoing animated quotes. Alright? Objective number 2, they need to have a list of upcoming events. Objective number 3, they need to be able to add teachers with their name and their title and image at the bottom. Objective number 4, have a blog on the right side of the page, and in parentheses it says be able to add new blog posts. So just to elaborate more on that. And last but not least, we have a bonus objective called be able to edit the blog post. So again, I want to mention that each objective is worth 1 point. The bonus objective, as indicated in the yellow text color, that is worth 2 points, and the only way to achieve that is if you complete all 4 objectives. So let's do this, boys. Let's do it. I'm going to do a 10-second countdown. My mods are going to count down with me with both blue team and red team, and I'm going to type in the command to start the game, and we're just going to do it. Here we go. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The game is starting. We have the 60-minute countdown. There is again some additional time added there just to give time for both teams to respawn. Here we go. And all those little pop-up notifications you guys saw there, that's most likely the mods allowing them to have access to the documents the moment we hit that 0 countdown. Okay, so, you know, if we still had those fire animations from Season 1, I would right now say Blue Team is on fire because they have the most amount of content in their site right now. And it looks like the way they accomplished that was through C9's boilerplate system. Only a few people are aware of that, and I think it is in the advantage of the Blue Team that they know that. Nice try, Cytos. You can definitely not pause the game. You are not an admin, but I respect your curiosity. I'm going to refresh the Blue Team's environment real quick here. And that's only because I do notice the gutter is a bit off here. Okay, so there's nothing I can do about that. How about the red team? Sometimes it does this. This is a C9 bug. Let's at least hope the red team gutter is fixed. It is. And all I'm saying here with the gutter is that between the very leftmost part of this selector, you can see that the line number isn't covering it, as you can see on the blue team. It's not that big of a deal. It's not the end of the world. Actually, it's not too bad. It's not too bad. I think that refresh actually fixed a little bit. Alright, so on the blue team we have an all selector, and we're adding margin 0, padding 0, and border box, which is my favorite resets. I mean, they should be like, they're very common resets. However, on the red team, we only see the box sizing border box added to everything. And, you know, I haven't seen any margin resets or padding resets just yet. I don't know if he, oh well, actually, I see that now on the body. So, but not a padding reset. So, I don't know. He might add it as we go along, but we'll just have to see. But both teams are using box sizing border box. Okay, now it does look like, even though we saw a huge head start on the blue team's HTML, the red team has caught up very quickly. They're adding way more HTML than the blue team. I mean, he's going super ham right now. Savham. Wow, it just works out. His name is Savham. What do you know? No wonder why he's going so ham right now. Look at him. He's just... Okay, he's just typing stuff away. Like, he doesn't even care. This is the kind of stuff I'm talking about. In DevWars, you have to make sure that you have enough time to code everything you need. And the only way to do that is to actually code. You gotta keep coding, you know, like, yeah. So, anyways, yeah, so, I mean, we see more code being added here. It looks like he's working very closely on this header. And he's putting his header inside of the wrapper. Generally, personally, I put my wrapper inside of the, you know, my container. And that's only to be able to have a full width, like background image or color, for example. However, you know, red team may be looking for a certain style. And so, you know, power to them. It's all a preference. Check it out on the red team. Even though we don't have SAS enabled, red team is using a in their CSS a form of organization that we haven't seen in a while, which is indenting your selectors when you are inside of it. So, for example, we are targeting the UL inside of the navigation tag. So, since he's doing that, he's indenting it. And I think that's super cool. It makes sense to me. I think it looks clean. And, yeah, so we'll see how that works out for him. And down here in the JavaScript on the red team, it does look like we are setting these functions for the teacher and the blog. So he is getting some work done here, organizing his thoughts in there and everything like that. Awesome. On the blue team, you know, our paw who is handling JavaScript, is kind of sorting out his function names and his, you know, parameters and stuff like that. And that's all great and well, but we haven't seen anything inside of the functions just yet. We'll see what happens here shortly. Now, the bets are open and they won't be for too long, so make sure you get your bets in as soon as possible. So you can bet your dev bits on either the blue team or the red team. So on the blue team, we are adding a UL element to the page, and given the class name upcoming events, I can't help but think that that is where their upcoming events are going to go. So, yes sir. A lot of dev bits are being betted at the moment. If you're currently watching DevWars and you don't have a Twitch account, I recommend that you take the small amount of time. It's only it's less than a minute to sign up for for Twitch. And the reason why you'd want to do that is so that you could participate in the chat, you know, have access to all of our commands, as well as being able to bet or even vote on the teams that are playing currently here on DevWars. So 8 minutes has already passed, and both teams are going ham. Alright, now I think it'd be really cool to go ahead and show you guys what the websites look like right now. So let's take a look at the blue team. This is what the blue team looks like at the moment. So we see a school background, and it looks like by highlighting the elements of the DOM that this is the header. So they have this image background for their header, and they have this UL list item, all of these lists, and that is for their upcoming events. Cool, cool. Now let's take a look at the red team now. Let's see what they got going on. Alright, so they have their header, and it looks like they're using a color as opposed to a background image. Now, they have a logo. I only know that because I see that there's a little square there, a little cute little square, and looking at the source, I can see that there is an image tag. So it is up to the HTML or even the CSS to add that image in there. So, and that is the logo, and we might see that later. Alright, and let's go back over to the code now. Alright, 15 minutes on the clock. Let's take a look at the CSS right now on the blue, and I want to say I'm actually really pleased with the speed in which every member, every single player is working very quickly, and I think we might even see both teams ace the game. And acing means that they complete all objectives. And when you complete all objectives, you actually earn more XP towards your rank. So that is an incentive to try to accomplish that. But not only do you earn more XP, but you also earn more points for this particular game. So you might even potentially be a winner. And of course, you earn more XP for being a winner as well. Let's see what blue team is styling. I mean, we see a lot of properties per selector, which is good. Okay, so we have a defined width and height on that logo. It is a bit small, judging by the fact that he is setting the width and height to 50 pixels, and that's not very much. He might increase that later. I'm sure it's arbitrary right now. And we don't see a... Oh, well, check it out right here. It looks like in the HTML they are using a Dell logo for their image. And they're doing that through HTML. Yeah, someone asked in the chat if inline CSS is cheating, or does that count? Inline CSS is not allowed, and very quickly, the reason for that is so that, CSS can focus on CSS and HTML can focus on HTML. If we look over here on the red team, they're doing a fantastic job right now by going super ham. I mean, his name is okay. His name is 205 or 205th. That's how I should say his name. So he's the one handling CSS on the red team. Oh man, Bob Delicious is going all in. Couple people betting. Some people betting harder than others. I do want to evaluate red team CSS. Okay, I was going to say I don't see any activity, but I see his cursor kind of jumping around back and forth. So I'm going to have to dismiss him for now. And let's take a look at HTML. And you know what? This is really cool to see a lot of activity in HTML because, we don't see that too often. A lot of HTML players feel like, they don't have very much to do, and that's not very true. I mean, HTML, they have plenty to do, and you can see in this case they're making that very known. So right now on the blue team in the HTML, they are working on their form, and that is for the teachers. Boredom Output has asked, how many DevWars events have there been, and when was the first? The first DevWars is very close to my heart, and that was on December 19th of 2014, so I'm able to tell you that easily. However, I'm not able to tell you how many episodes we've had. I believe we may have had close to 20 or 30. So and keep in mind each episode is once a week. So we've been doing this for a while for sure. 1 minute left to bet. Make sure you get your bets in as soon as possible. I did notice a few more people going all in. Let's go ahead and take a look at the Blue Team's website now. So it looks like Blue Team's website is titled Dell University. Given this text here as well as their logo. Awesome. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the red team now. We don't see all too much over here visually. We do know behind the scenes that there is a lot more going on this website than you can actually see. So don't be so quick to judge. Oops. Alright. But yeah, but as far as we can see here, I mean, just an orange header with text in there. Not much to see here, right? Go back to the code. Okay, so in the CSS on the Blue Team, he's adding letter spacing between the H1 tag, which is that tells me he's very detail oriented. Whoa, this song, I'm gonna have to switch it. But anyways, the letter spacing just lets me know that this guy is paying attention to small little details, because that is a small detail to want your font to be spaced out a little bit more, right? And we do see a lot of properties per selector, which is good, and we see that actually on both teams. The more properties you have on a selector, the more details you're going to see in a site. What we've seen in a lot of past DevWars games is that we have a lot of selectors and a few properties in each selector. Right. Let's see what we have here. We have Open Sans imported through the head tag on the Blue Team. Let's see if we have any custom fonts imported here on the red. It looks like we do. It looks like red team chose to import the fonts through CSS as opposed to HTML, and that's another alternative. That's fine, but they're both using Open Sans, and that is a very popular font. That is a good choice. A lot of JavaScript. Let's highlight the action happening on JavaScript. This is a pretty JavaScript heavy game. So right now, we did see that Blue Team was a bit slow on their JavaScript, and some of you guys were even wondering, what's happening? Why is Blue Team not doing anything in their JavaScript? And you can see now that this guy is definitely making stuff happen. So he's working on that submit button for this forum, and that is for the teachers. And that's brilliant. How about on the red team? What are they doing? They have a bunch of functions open. They have an add teacher function. They have an add post function. They have show post, show teachers. And currently he's working on the blog. That's what he's working on right now. Cool. Let's look over here back on the Blue Team CSS. It does look like the HTML on the Blue Team did slow down a bit. So I'm not going to talk too much about the HTML there. So anyways, the Jonathan on the blue team, I'm sorry, Gavin on the blue team, who's handling CSS, is currently working on that input. So he's targeting both the input submit button and the button tag, and he's given both of those these same properties. And I think this is cool. He's removing the standard border that is applied to those tags. On the red team's HTML, we have a lot, and they're very spaced out compared to the blue team. And you know, he might close them closer together, you know, as we move along, but some people need to have all their elements kind of spaced out in order for them to really understand what's going on, especially if you have a bunch of stuff, you know. And on the red team, we do have a bunch of stuff. And currently we have a bunch of static data here, and I'm sure that they're going to make this dynamic here shortly. And it's actually good that they have static data, and the reason being is so that their CSS guy can actually go in there and say, oh, so this is what it, because, okay, to the CSS guy, it doesn't matter if it's dynamic or static, right? He just needs it to look good. And so the moment he styles it and JavaScript's able to make it dynamic, then what's going to happen is the styles are going to be finished by that time, and the dynamic data is going to look nice. So 39 minutes left on the clock, technically 40 minutes. We still have a lot of time left on the clock. Let's go ahead and refresh the website and see where we're at now. Alright, so this is the blue team's website. We have that Dell University that was originally kind of thrown under the header in an awkward position, but now it is neatly centered between this hero class, which actually it's not a hero class. If I look at the HTML, this is technically in the header tag, which can only imply that it's the header, but it does look like the and it does look like a hero to me, in my opinion. But yeah, so we have Dell University. We do have beautiful styles on this form inputs, and we did see that Blue Team was working on that in their styles, and it does look like he finished it. What I would do is, personally, I feel like the button over here might benefit better by using the a white font color. For example, you can see here, color white. You can see that, to me, I think that looks a bit better, given that that background has a bit of a dark value to it. So, but we'll see what he does with it. I mean, they have a lot of time. Let's go ahead and take a look at the red team site. We didn't see very much content there before, and let's see how much they have now. Check it out. So we had their header, which is everything in the orange is what we had seen before, but everything below it, such as the navigation bar, is completely new to us in the fact that it is visible to us in the DOM. And we even have our form here, so that's brilliant. We don't have any labels or anything to indicate, or even placeholders to indicate what these inputs are for just yet, but we'll see here shortly what they're going to do with that. Let's go over here and go back over to the code. Horo, thank you for suggesting to post in some sort of subreddit, such as a programming subreddit, about DevWars. I truly believe that there are people there who would love to see a stream like this, and you know, the only way to make that happen is to make the post. But some people have made, well, JXCC Man more specifically has mentioned that we cannot condone upvoting posts that were made because, you know, that is frowned upon. But I do appreciate the thought. Alright, so I'm going to kind of go left and right. We're going to actually review every single position starting from the blue team. Let's see what blue team CSS is doing here. So he is working on that upcoming event, and he's using inline block on all those list items. That means that all those list items are going to be on their sharing the same line as opposed to their default display block property, which means that they have, you know, their own line. I'm excited to see what those upcoming events look like soon here, and he is working on that upcoming events class, you know, the parent of that list item. And actually, that is the UL. So we're going to look at the HTML now. Not much has changed in the HTML. I mean, he did work pretty rapidly to add all this HTML content, but you know, eventually we saw a kind of a standstill, you know, with the HTML that was added. But we'll see what he does later. I do want to really quickly say here, HTML can run out of things to do. That is very possible. However, they can play the leadership role, where they can, you know, since with all this off time, they can actually refresh the site many times and you know, even run bug testing and even coach their teammates on what they should be doing, or even tutor them on any problems they're having. But of course, they cannot actually do it for them because they're only in charge of HTML. Let's look at the JavaScript on the blue team. Now, we don't see very much. There's only 24 lines of code here, and a lot of those lines are also, well, not a lot, but some of those lines are just blank lines. But you know, we see variables that are set in an array. Over here on the teacher info, we see a function for the teacher container. We did see earlier, okay, he did comment all this out, so all this was HTML code that would be appended into the DOM, but it looks like he got rid of that for now, temporarily. Now let's look at the red team's HTML. There's just so much HTML here. I'm not sure if he's stopped or if he's oh, check it out. He is still currently working on it, and I love to see stuff like that. Savham is going ham. Yeah, so it looks like he has two different forms. One is the blog form and one is the event form. And he's diligently working on the ID names for each of these inputs. Cool, cool, cool. Awesome. And so he is being very, I mean, there's a bunch of content here. A lot of this is because they have static data. However, I should mention that between red and blue, red has gone into detail, you know, as far as what, you know, elements are going inside of their list item, whereas on the blue team, for example, they only have a list item element and text inside of it. They don't have other items inside of it, you know, so we'll see. And now, the CSS on the red team, he's working currently on the upcoming events, and he's targeting that last child on the list item, and that's just to simply remove that border on that last list item that he is applying on all list items, as we can see above here. And he got rid of that list style none. That is a default property that is added because anytime you use unlisted well, UL tags and okay, so UL stands for unordered lists and OL stands for ordered lists. Anytime you use one of those, you are going to get you know, those styles, such as those bullet points. Alright, we're gonna have to pause the game. It looks like We are having a bit of an unfortunate with the Blues workspace. So game has paused. Just pay attention to the chat to keep updated. I will announce as soon as I get news on, you know, what the status is. But it looks like we're just having a bit of technical difficulties in the C9 environment. How many of you guys are enjoying DevWars so far? Let us know in the chat what you think about DevWars. And please, we do listen to your feedback, so if you have any, let us know in our subreddit or on our website. So in case you guys are wondering, the game is paused. Daniel DK is in the chat right now mentioning that his blue is down on his end. So, you know, situations like this happens. And, you know, we're currently using C9.io as our project environment system. And C9 does have its flaws. However, we do think that C9 is still an ideal candidate for what we're doing here. So hopefully we see benefits in the long run by using C9. Now, HTML being idle now is starting to make sense to me in my mind, because, you know, they were having a hard time with his C9. Let's go ahead and take a look at this TeamSpeak while we're waiting. So I'm going to pause the music and I'm just going to pop into the TeamSpeak. We do have TeamSpeak open. I'm going to listen in on the blue team just so you guys can hear what's going on.
I told everybody, it's just we don't have we can't pause the timer literally.
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't even know.
Hey, just pop it in. I want to know what's going on.
We don't really know what to do and how to fix
My
it.
HTML isn't, like, the file isn't showing up.
Oh man.
Can you do me a favor? Try reloading your cache too.
All right. Well, they're working that out. Okay, cool. So, I mean, they are in TeamSpeak, guys. I mean, there's a bunch of people listening here on the blue and red. And in order to join our TeamSpeak, all you have to do is type !TS in the chat right now. The bot will output a link to you, and it'll allow you to see or listen in. We do have a limit. You know, judging by our TeamSpeak lobby and capacity, it looks like we may be full on our TeamSpeak, but I may be wrong. I'm not sure. I'm not sure at all. So go ahead and join our TeamSpeak if you're interested in listening in either the blue or red during the game. But yeah, so as you guys heard, you know, one of our guys, HTML specifically on the blue team, is having issues with C9. We are going to accommodate for the missing time here on the clock when we do fix that. So in the meantime, we're just gonna have to kind of kick it. What I could do is bring out the puppy again. I know I said that I wasn't gonna do that till next week. Well, lucky for you, it is #puppy time. So let's get that going. I'll be right back. Alright guys, say hello to Nami. Here she is again. I feel so bad. I woke her up from her nap, all because of the scenario. Nami, you need to stop acting so awkward right now. You're just like kind of all hunching over and stuff. Just chill out, man. Just relax. It's all good. She has no idea what's going on. I don't blame her. I mean, she's just a dog. You know, how is she supposed to know that she's currently on a show called DevWars? She doesn't know that. All she knows is that she got woken up from a very pleasurable nap. And all because the Jonathan was having issues with his HTML. But yeah, so cute puppy for the win. Cute puppy for the win. Yeah, Nami is definitely not pleased with me. She's pretty mad. She's probably gonna go back to bed now. Nami's only mad because there weren't enough donations coming in since I brought her on board, so I can't blame her, man. I mean, we got servers to run. Alright, C9 workspace seems to be back up, so that is good news. Everybody go ahead and clap your hands. I know that the stream can't hear you, but we'll have the faith, you know, by imagining that you did do that. And actually, that'd be probably weird if you did. By the way, is accepting Bitcoin still a thing on DevWars? Yeah, it is. It's a hidden way to earn extra points. That's for sure. Nice cat you have there. Nice try. She is indeed a dog, but your troll isn't working right now. What was C9 developed for? Actual project collaboration? Sorry, I'm unfamiliar. And on mobile, or I'd investigate. Yeah, I mean, it was developed for actual development and stuff. So, but we are using. I feel like we're using C9 for the right reasons. Am I right? Am I right though? All right. So, give me a moment while I message my mod real quick. But yeah, so as far as I can tell, looks like C9 is up on the blue team. And all we're waiting on right now is for my mod to let me know how we're going to move forward to start the game again. We're going to do a 10-second countdown again, and we'll get right back into the game and resume. Okay. So from my memory, I think we lost about 15 minutes. However, let me know in the chat right now how, if you remember more correctly than I do, when the problems went wrong on blue team. So I'll take the average and we'll append that amount to the clock and we'll restart it. So let me know when you noticed the time, where the time was when the Jonathan was having problems with this HTML. Timer stopped at 35 minutes. Alright, we'll go with 35 minutes. And because that was one of my mods, so he was probably paying very close attention. Alright, 35, here we go. Someone said 60. Nice try. Alright, so I'm going to do a 10-second countdown, and my mod is going to append time to the clock. So here we go. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Oh, hang on. I did get shouted at, so I guess not yet. Sorry, I got a bit excited there. Alright, we're ready. So I'm going to do the 10-second countdown, and we're going to append the clock right now. Here we go. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. Oh, sorry. We're getting canceled again. I'm getting blocked. I'm getting blocked, man. Like, dude, I'm just trying to start the time is all. I'm a pretty innocent guy in my opinion. I'm getting yelled at right now in my whisper, so you guys can't see it. It's all for good reasons. We might have to have, you know, some sort of requirement. Okay, we're good now, and I hope I don't get yelled at again because I don't like getting yelled at, and I might have an emotional breakdown on the stream if I get yelled at again. So here we go. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and we are restarting the time. We are back to where we were. Both teams are working. If Joel was trolling me this whole time, I'm not gonna lie, I'd be pretty upset. I'm gonna go over to the blue team right now and highlight what they have done. I mean, there's, and just wait till we get to the red team. I have a lot to talk about there as well. But anyways, it does look like they did go with that white text on their button, and I think that makes perfect sense there. And I mean, they have this pretty cool navigation system here. I believe, I mean, judging by their HTML, you can see that this Dell University thingy-majigger is what they consider the header. That is a very big header. Generally, you would expect to see the navigation, you know, where my mouse is. I don't know if you guys can see my mouse. I don't know if that's picking up on OBS or not, but yeah, so I'm going to skip the song. Okay. But yeah, you'd expect it there. Now let's take a look at the red team, because a lot has changed there, believe it or not. So check it out. One of the biggest things I want to point out is that, well, obviously, we have all this content here that I'm highlighting. That's cool. That wasn't there before last we looked at it. But also, this was a small thing, was that this header right here wasn't properly aligned vertically. And I'm going to skip the song too. You know, actually, it was I believe it was, you know, vertically aligned properly, but it was there was an extra, either extra bit of padding, or there was an additional element in the DOM that they didn't want, and they removed it, therefore rendering it to be vertically centered. And that's cool. They have this navigation bar right below it. Awesome. This is their awesome events. So this is where all their events are going to be listed here. Over here are their forms, and I believe they're working on it right now. And over to the right, we have stuff. So we have the stuff. Let's go back over to the code now. Someone is asking, what OS am I using? I am using Windows 7, represent. Can I have all my Windows boys represent right now in the chat? Alright, let's take a look at the blue team's HTML, since we did see a lot of inactivity on the blue team, and I figured, based off of past DevWars games, that he was just going to be content with what he had, but that is not the case. He has a lot to add here, and he's working very diligently. He's using Emmet to his advantage. A lot of code got deleted there, and okay, it looks like he may have just used the cut command to just relocate it. Okay, he's going ham. And if we look at the red team's HTML, we are adding another form to the website. So originally we saw two forms, the add blog and the add event and the add teacher form, but now we're seeing the add blog form. So a lot of forms there. Let's take a look at the blue team's CSS. see what they are currently styling at this very moment. I see his selector is over here on the input. He kind of temporarily commented out that display block, it looks like. Okay, he's not doing anything at the very moment. What about JavaScript? Still no activity there. I mean, it still looks the same since we last reviewed it. A lot of Windows hype, and at the same time, a lot of Windows hate. I really should sit down with the playlist that we have here. For those of you who don't know, we are using the Twitch music library, and all the songs that we are playing are, you know, approved by Twitch, so that they don't mute us. So, you know, to be mindful of our viewers who, you know, weren't able to show up today. They're able to show up later and watch the stream without worrying about not hearing anything. I probably should sit down with this playlist and remove all the songs that I don't like. In the CSS on the red team, I love this specificity that is going on here, and I love the amount of detail as indicated by the amount of properties. Well, not just the amount of properties, but the type of properties he is using. For example, vertical align top. We have box shadow. We have a cursor pointer added to the submit button, which makes sense. Jax TC Man mentioned specificity will mess your stuff up. I believe that is true. However, I also believe that specificity can be a good thing if you know what you're doing. So on the blue team's HTML, I'm happy to see that we do have him back up and running, and he's working very hard, you know, adding more HTML content. Looks like he got that lorem placeholder in there for now for that blog, which is good because that gives their CSS guy the content they need to style, while at the same time, you know, giving it looks like he used a command for that to get that lorem text in there. Now, I should mention the HTML, you know, since they have the time to, since they have a lot of downtime once they finish their actual structure and overall layout of their website, they can actually take their time to replace placeholders such as lorem ipsum with actual content that they want reflected on their website. And I think that that will actually reflect on their overall design. And especially since, you know, on the blue team, when we looked at their website, it looked like they were being very specific on what they wanted their website to be. Okay, we're gonna take a look at the blue team's website now. We haven't looked at it in a while. This is what it looks like. Okay, cool. So we have the navigation now on this header as we would expect. Technically, it's the nav tag. What else? Okay, so these are events. So I mistook these as the navigation earlier. But these are indeed the events. Now, I'm going to show you guys something. What you could do is you notice that there is you can go a couple ways with this. Now, if you wanted this blue div right here to be spaced out a little more, you know, to have more space in between the top and bottom, but you wanted it to be vertically centered, a quick way to do that would be to target the parent container, which in this case is the UL, and I'm just going to go ahead and show you guys the elements in the DOM here. If you target the UL and you append padding top and bottom of whatever you would like, but in this case I'm going to use like 20 pixels, and nothing left and right, you would see that we do have exactly that effect that I mentioned there, where you have space in between the top and bottom, but it is vertically centered at the same time. So that is a pretty cool little workaround. There are, of course, in CSS many different ways to do different things, so that's worth mentioning. Let's take a look at the red team now. Wow, I gotta say, a lot of stuff has changed. Yeah, they're getting stuff done. They did go with the 4-column approach. They have 4 columns here. There's nothing wrong with 4 columns. You know, red team is surprising me a bit because they were behind for quite some time, and now they're showing up and they're doing stuff. I do want to test very quickly here if I'm actually able to add anything. So let's go ahead and add an event here. We're gonna do test event. Let's set the event date to 1:15, the event time to 12:00, and test description. And let's hit the submit. And yeah, nothing happened just yet. I just wanted to test that out and see if they did get that working, but not just yet. Let's go ahead and look at the code now. There is 26 minutes left on the clock. There is that means that 3/4 of the stream has passed. Just a quarter left. Let's start off by seeing where we are now. Let's start off with the blue team's HTML. I don't see any immediate activity that's happening there, but they definitely did add a lot of stuff, that's for sure. One of the biggest things that blue team's HTML does not have that the red team does have is that you know, these list items don't have any additional element or tags inside of them. It's just text. I think that blue team could elaborate more on their list items. They could definitely add more content in there, and that would add more overall detail to their site, which would help with the design phase. Alright, and let's look at the CSS on the blue team. Let's find out what he's working on. I see a selector here over on the outer container class. He has max width properties. That's pretty cool. That means he's considering, you know, little details such as how far the width of that element is going to ever be. We have an after pseudo on this h3 tag on the upcoming events container, and if I look over here at the HTML for that upcoming events container, so I see that class right here. So he is indeed talking about this h3 tag, and so he's adding an after pseudo. You know, I don't see anything in here other than the fact that it's going to be a white. It looks like a border. I think what he's trying to accomplish here is some sort of a border, because the height is so small. I think that's what he's trying to do. What about the JavaScript? Whoa. Okay, so take a look. We have a lot more JavaScript going on here. Let's start at the top, where most of the activity is happening. So there is a action that is happening when you click the submit button on the new teacher. Alright, I think we're back. The time has still been going off, so don't worry. Both teams were still able to make changes during that downtime. Something happened with my internet. This has never happened before, so let's hope that it doesn't happen, but it may be time that I that I upgrade my internet. I hope Google Fiber shows up here pretty shortly, but anyways, we are back in it. Let's, what I'm going to start off doing real quick is to just go over to the Blue Team's website and see what they've done. Alright, someone DDoSed me, that's what happened. So this is what's happening on the Blue Team's website. We have quotes I love over here. Now, someone did mention, hang on. Okay, sorry, I had to rejoin TeamSpeak so my mods can hear me. But anyways, lost my train of thought. So 17 minutes left on the clock. But someone mentioned to me that the form on the Blue Team's website works. So let's try that out. Let's go ahead and let's fill out this bottom form right here. Let's do a test title and that content dough, and let's submit it and check it out. It works. And something I noticed is that when I hit the submit button, it kept the content that I typed in here, but not in here. Let's try typing another blog, new blog, and description for that new blog, and let's submit that. And we are getting that content being added by the JavaScript, which is super cool that they did that. How about this top form up here? Let's go ahead and, okay, so this is an image post system. I'm just gonna, since I don't want to open up a new tab and look for images, let me go ahead and copy the image that I see over here on the red team. I'm gonna use the red team's image for the blue team. So red team's image, copy that image though, and then I'm gonna paste the URL and submit and check it out. It works. Now let's take a look at the red team, see what they've done. Alright, so I don't notice anything right off the bat other than the fact that we have this text over here and we have the forms look more neat. So let's go ahead and see if this works now. And if it does, I would say that the synergy between both blue and red, they're pretty on time. I would say that we have a very even matchup. So it could go any other way. Let's go ahead and submit a blog. So we'll do DevWars, syntag. The content of this blog is so good. And I don't know what this post link is asking for, but we'll go ahead and link to our twitch.devwars.tv/devwars and submit that and check it out. They did get that working. And yeah, it's looking good. Let's go back over to the code. $14 minutes left on the clock. Check it out. On the blue team, they are adding, so they have the objectives kind of listed here, and they're adding the text done next to each of these objectives to let their team know that they have completed that objective. Now we're going to be going over the objectives at the end of the game. You know, anything could happen. They could, for example, consider an objective complete when we realize that it is not complete according to our standards, or even they break something right before the timer hits 0, rendering them not, you know, available to get that point there. But I think this is pretty organized what they're doing, you know, giving their team a global understanding of where they're at. Okay. As far as the HTML on the blue team, it doesn't look like they've added a whole lot else to their chat. I mean, to their text. You know, this is kind of a odd list of events here I'm highlighting. Not really too sure about those names, but you know, I think it'd be really cool if they made it to where you can click the, for example, like the blog, and it'll expand it in a lightbox. But that would be like if they had a lot of time, and there's only 12 minutes left, so I doubt they'd be able to do something like that. But you can always, you know, exceed past the amount of objectives we have in store for you. Of course, if you complete all 5, instead of sitting around, it'd be better if you added more features that the opposite team doesn't have, you know, to get those extra points. Alright, let's go to the blue team's website real quick. We noticed that those quotes that were placed kind of oddly before, and now they're positioned a little bit better. You know, it's not perfect, it's not centered exact. I think this quotes I love is a temporal placeholder. I think it's going to be static. I don't think that you're going to be able to influence the quotes that you're going to see here. But I do believe that the Jonathan, who's handling HTML on the blue team, is going to replace that at some point in time. Cool. And when I hover over these navs, I don't see any immediate hover effect other than the fact that your cursor is, you know, turns into a pointer, but that might just have to do with, well, I was going to say that it was an anchor, but it's not, so they did add that property where it's a cursor pointer. That's about is the extent of it, though. And now let's take a look at the red team. So, just like the blue team, they don't have any hover effects on these navigation icons. And they have like this little bit of a separation between these, but you're still able to, you still have that pointer activated as you're hovering between these even. And I think that's one of those small details that maybe you can change. But yeah, I mean, it looks the same from what we've last seen. 10 minutes left on the clock. I did not mean to go to the pregame screen, my bad. Alright, so enough with the blue team. Let's take a look at the red team now. Let's see if they've added anything else into their HTML. I currently see a selector, well, a selector over here on the red team. This could be one of the other team's selectors. Yeah, we see another selector here. The other teammates can highlight and even click, you know, around different portions of their teammates' code, but they just can't add anything to it. Okay, what about the CSS? And I really admire the indentation that red team's doing on their CSS, because that just makes it that much more readable. I'm trying to find where his cursor is, but we do have 200. Okay, we're back. And if we look at the clock here, there's 4 minutes left on the clock. We did add a little bit more time, you know, to compensate for all of this that happened. My internet went out twice now. Hopefully, we're able to finish the rest of the game, you know, with the amount of time that we have left here. And then I will be calling my cable company to find out what is up and if there's anything I can do to make sure this never happens again. But anyways, yeah, so I'm going to review what the blue team has done. And that way we're kind of, you know, catch up to speed here. And what I'll do is highlight. Okay, so over here on the header, that's where currently Gavin is working on is on that header. H1 tag more specifically. You know, I mean, he's not adding any properties at this very moment. How about in the HTML on the blue team? Now, it looks like they're pretty content with what they actually have. That's fine. And in the JavaScript, there's plenty of JavaScript action going on over here. I mean, I'm going to start at the top. So at the top we have their you know, their click functions for their appending their post for when you fill out the forms, and we could look at those functions that it's calling. For example, the append teacher. This is what's happening. We're simply appending all these all this HTML with these variables inside of it, and these variables are being pulled from the inputs, whatever you typed in there. Yeah, this is really cool. I think they might be able to get their bonus objective in. I mean, it is cutting it pretty close, but they definitely could pull it off. How about on the red team? There's just so much HTML, and I'm not sure if it's that they have it spaced out so much that makes it seem like they have a lot, or if they actually have more than the blue team. But I'm gonna have to say yes, they do. I don't see anything being added. How about on the CSS? I mean, they have tons of CSS over here on the red. There's 2 minutes left on the clock. Mods, let the teams know of the time. Stick around, guys. We are going to be going over the objectives, and we're also going to open up the vote, so you know, that way you guys can vote which team has the best design and functionality. Let me skip that song though. And I'm not going to show the website just yet because I want it to be a surprise. You guys are always welcome to view the website in your own browser. Let's see, I don't see any, oh, here we go, check it out. He's currently editing the footer on the red team. Mr. Dude is editing, sorry, not Mr. Dude, 205th is editing the footer. And we have the wrapper over here. The wrapper, semantically, probably should be at the top. Considering that wrapper is one of the first elements that is declared here on the body. Actually, it is the first element that is declared. There's 40 minutes left on the clock. I mean, seconds. Yeah, the time must be a curse. This is what I get for dressing up. This is what I get. Unbelievable. See, that's what happens. Alright, 20 seconds, mods. Please count down with me. 15 seconds left on the clock. Once we get to the 10-second countdown, which is coming up. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It's over. Alright. So, that was interesting. Both teams did get compensated with a little bit more time, you know, due to the fact that my internet went out a couple times there. So, I mean, we're just going to have to move forward. Alright, so whatever they have is what they have. What we're going to do is we're going to start with the blue team. We're going to review their website. But we're not even looking at the design or anything. We're just strictly looking at what objectives does blue team have. Alright, so objective number 1. Blue team was supposed to create a hero with a picture of a school with incoming and outgoing animated quotes. And that is exactly what we find here, so we are giving blue team the point for objective number 1. So objective number 1, blue team did complete. Let's take a look at objective number 2, list of upcoming events. And we do see that list here. Mods, please follow along with me on that mod panel. They did complete objective number 2. Awesome. I think these are the developers that were playing here today. And one of them doesn't have an actual image. One of them is upside down. Well, that's fine. Objective number 3. Be able to add teachers with their name and title and an image at the bottom. Okay. So we're going to add a teacher over here. Let's go ahead and do, we're going to do a fake name. Well, actually, let's add one of these guys as a teacher. Let's add Gavin. So we'll copy his image link. We'll add Gavin right here, and he is the CSS goodness. And add the image URL, and check it out. It does append new images here, whatever type. So they did complete objective number 3. Fantastic job. This is super cool. Objective number 4, have a blog on the right side of the page. Be able to add new blog posts. Okay. We do see the blog posts on the right side of the page as indicated. And let's try to add a blog. Let's try doing fake blog title and LOL Raffle Copter. And submit that and check it out. We do have that ability added. So they did complete objective number 4. Now objective number 5, which was the bonus objective that they do qualify for, as you can say, see they completed all 4 objectives. You know, I don't see that. I don't see that they've gotten to that. So unfortunately they didn't achieve that, but they still did an awesome job getting all 4 of those objectives in the bag. So far 4 points for the blue team, and it is on the right side because if you notice, the way they've done it here was they had this events over here on the left side, so the events was overall the left column and the blog was the right column. So it is on the right side. Let's take a look at the red team now. Red team, let's see what you have to offer. So this is the red team's website that we're looking at the moment. And objective number 1 was to create a hero of a picture with, you know, of a school, of an image of the school, and incoming and outgoing animated quotes. We don't see that. I mean, they're very, very close. All they needed to do was have those quotes come in and out. So they didn't get the point for objective number 1. Let's take a look at objective number 2, list upcoming events. We do see that right here, so they do get a point for objective number 2. Objective number 3, be able to add teachers with their names, with their name, title, and image at the bottom. Let's give that a shot. We're gonna add Gavin again to the teacher on this list. So let's try this out right now. So we're gonna add Gavin. His title is CSS goodness, and his image URL is that, and that does work. They did complete objective number 3. Brilliant. Objective number 4, have a blog on the right side of the page and be able to add a new blog post. Okay, cool. So over here, if this works, they get a point. Let's try it out. Blog title, syntag, post, we're just gonna do test content and a link to DevWars and submit that. And wow, that button actually, if you click it, it goes to DevWars. That's awesome. So they did complete objective number 4. We're not even going to read the bonus objective off because, well, they didn't complete objective number 1, so they didn't qualify for it. So far, blue team is in the lead by just 1 point. Now we're going to be voting on design. Let's go ahead and let's go ahead and start with the blue team. We're not gonna start the design poll yet. We're just gonna review both sites. I'm gonna review over every little detail before we actually open up the poll, so you guys know where we're at. So on the blue team, they have a header with the Dell logo right here. They have the navigation links. When you hover over it, we don't get anything other than the fact that your cursor becomes a pointer. We have this section down here where you can see the title of the university with all these inspirational quotes. Super cool. Okay, and the rest below it, we have a 2-column grid. We have the upcoming events taking up the entire left-hand side of the grid. And on the right column, we have the rest of the content. We have a form with, to submit a new teacher. We have all of the different developers that worked here today on the blue team. And we have a form down here to submit a new blog post. So, and when you hover over it, you get a cool little transition effect. It gets a bit darker. When you hover over these links, they have a animation there as well. Nothing with these. And yeah, so that is the blue team. How about the red team? Okay, so with the red team, we start off by having that header up at the top. We have the school background and everything. We have those quotes there. They're static. We have these the navigation bar at the bottom as opposed to the top. When you hover over it, you do get a transition effect as well as a inversion of the colors. So that's cool. And this is the way they styled the blog. They have a 4-column grid system on the red team. And they are utilizing 100% width as the blue team did as well. And I'm hovering over these buttons. We don't see any hover effects on these buttons. We do see a box shadow on these form. On the form inputs. So if you guys are a fan of the box shadow effect, we have a copyright down here. Again, these buttons don't have any hover effects. Alright, cool. So go ahead and throw up the design vote poll. Vote blue or red. Of course, always include your exclamation point in front of your vote to have it register as a command. So it's either blue or red in the chat, and your vote will be accounted for live right here on DevWars. You can see the poll going back and forth. So which team had the best design? And I'm going to shift over to the blue team so you could remember what that looked like. Again, you guys can always see what the website looks like for yourself in your own browser. We do provide a bunch of handy tools for you to do that. So this is the blue team. And we're going to go back over to the red team. This is the red team. It looks like it's pretty close. So far, it is a tie. A lot more votes on the blue team, however, but they do need to cross that threshold in order to achieve 2 points. So, we do have a time limit on these votes, so make sure you get your vote in before the vote closes. You cannot change it once you place your vote, so be careful on which team you want to vote on. So this is the red team site we're currently looking at. I am going to shift over here to the blue team. 30 seconds left to vote as indicated by the bot. Yeah, so very close. 20 seconds left to vote. So this is the blue team site. And again, I'm going to go back over to the red real quick. 10 seconds left to vote. This is the red team site. Oh, and that footer is fixed. I didn't realize that. Alright, votes are closed. That was very close. Unfortunately, we're going to have to accept a tie on that round. They didn't cross that threshold. So, they both get 1 point. Technically, blue is in the lead by just 1 point because of that one objective, which was to simply have these. I'm going to highlight that these quotes here were supposed to rotate in and out, and that was worth 1 point. So far, blue is in the lead by just one point. However, we are going to be voting on functionality now. So I'm going to, but before we do that, I'm going to show you guys again so you don't forget what the functionality was on the blue team. So let's the only functionality we really have here is that I'm going to highlight is number one, the form entries, and also the this. So the quote being switched in and out, that is handled in JavaScript. So blue team has this going on for them. It just rotates through the 3 quotes that they have. Cool. And then down here they have a form for adding a new teacher. We're gonna use Gavin as our handy dandy example. So Gavin, the example, he's a CSS god, and we're gonna add his image URL and we're gonna submit it, and we do see that was added right away. Let's see real quick just to see what happens. What happens if I click the submit button without adding, anything inside of it? Okay, so it did add stuff. I know it's adding stuff because if I zoom in very closely, you can notice that we do have elements in the DOM that was added. So I do want to highlight all of these little points just so you guys can see and make your vote a little bit easier. Okay, now in the blog post, we're gonna do a test and test content, hit the submit button, so that gets submitted. And if we keep hitting the submit button, nothing happened, but let's go ahead and add a new title, new description, and hit submit. And okay, so it looked like it was fine, by constantly hitting submit without adding anything on the blue team. So that's that. Now we're going to take a look at the red team, and then we're going to actually vote on functionality. Okay, so comparing red to red right off the bat is that they don't have any JavaScript to allow the quotes over here to interchange, to switch in and out. So that's something to consider. Down here we have a form to add a blog post with a couple forms here. So we have a blog title. Oh, let's actually do like DevWars, Syntag, watch DevWars, and the Twitch link, and we're gonna submit, and that does get added down here. And this was an extra bit of information that they did compared to the blue team, where you can actually click a link. And what they did here was they kept all of the placeholders in there, so they didn't remove it the moment you hit the submit button. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but when I hit the submit button, I could submit the same link over and over again. Let's see what happens if I submit something, without anything. Oh, check it out. They have some sort of validation system. So red team has a validation system. Let me see what happens. Okay, so it wants me to fill out everything. So they do have required fields before this even, pushes. That's pretty cool. How about the add teacher form? Do we see the same thing? Syntag, the teacher. I have so much knowledge, though, and we're gonna use Gavin again. I know that this is contradicts, the fact that I'm submitting as Syntag, but let's keep. Okay, so it does do the same thing as the other form. Let's delete everything inside of here and see if they have the same. Check it out, they do. So that's pretty cool. That's worth mentioning. They didn't have that on the blue team. Go ahead and throw up the poll for functionality now, guys. You've seen it. So vote blue or red now. Which team has the best functionality? You can equate functionality to user experience. So this is the blue team site. And we did go over that. I'm just gonna go back and forth every now and then. I mean, I'm not gonna, you know, resubmit stuff in the forum because we did go over that. I really do recommend you guys use it in your own browser because you might be able to find things that, you know, you didn't see on the stream. At least maybe things I didn't find, such as bugs. But yeah, so a lot of votes coming in on red for the functionality. Let's switch back over to the red team. Alright, 30 seconds left to vote. Make sure you get your votes in, guys. It looks like we have 47 votes so far. 20 seconds left to vote. Type blue or red in the chat with an exclamation point in front of it. Tech 10 seconds left to vote. And voting is over. Okay, so it looks like red team did win in functionality, giving them 2 points in that phase. So if I'm doing math correctly right now in my head, I don't even want to try actually. I want to, let me go ahead and go over to the score page and let's see the total overview. Okay, it looks like, wow, is this oh man, it looks like red won. It looks like red won, surprisingly. Good game, red team. They won by 1 point. It was so close.